I never dreamed of being an entrepreneur. I came from a middle-class family, from the province, and like all middle-class families, we've had some good times, and we've had some pretty bad times. I remember the worst it got was when we were literally eating leftovers from our relatives' tables. And so we lived from paycheck to paycheck, and we really didn't have any money. We didn't have connections. And so I never dreamed of being an entrepreneur. It was just not something I was taught to aspire to. I mean, for someone who really didn't have money, it's not something, something so unstable, it's just unthinkable. I had wanted to be a newscaster, and then I wanted to be a writer. But what I actually ended up doing in college was studying a pre-law course to be a lawyer. I mean, it sounded like the most sensible and stable thing. And I mean, even though it's not something I was really interested in, it wasn't something I was passionate about. But all of that changed when I started to blog in 2005. I was 17 then, and I was just really talked about what I ate for lunch, and what I did or what I learned in school. But what really changed my life was starting my beauty blog in 2008, projectvanity.com. It was just a teenage girl's rants online about makeup, her finds, so it was just really very random. And I never really thought much of it when I started doing the website. I remember going to the UP Manila cafeteria just so I can eat 20 peso palabok and buy the cheapest makeup I could afford so that I have something to write about. If you told me back then that I would be celebrating my 10th anniversary of a blog with 300 people at one of the largest malls in Manila, I wouldn't have believed you, but that happened. I really never dreamed of being an entrepreneur, but little did I know that what most people would think was just a frivolous hobby would lead me to run a multi-million peso beauty company at the age of 30. So how did I do it? Let me talk about my business quickly. So I am the CEO of LLB Incorporated, and we have 4 main verticals. We have projectvanity.com, which is a country's top beauty resource wherein we publish, beauty stories, high-quality beauty stories every day. Project Vanity receives about 500,000 page views every month, and on Facebook, as Richard mentioned earlier, we reach up to 2 million people with our content and videos. We also have Project Vanity. We also have community events so that we can reach out to our readers and talk about what we're passionate about face-to-face. So we partnered with brands like Estee Lauder, Shiseido, and Bobbi Brown to do these workshops and events, just to name a few. We also have Project Vanity Kits, which are curated Kikai kits, where we pick our favorite products so that our readers could try them for less. And we also have a lipstick line in collaboration with Pink Sugar, that's available in Watsons nationwide. So another offshoot of the business is we also do an events and PR consultancy with different clients. So we work with brands like Ever Belena, Baggis, which distributes many European brands in Watsons, as well as other beauty brands in the country. So we help them with reaching out to the top influencers and also consult with them for their launch events. Okay, something new that we've been doing though a year ago is our very own skincare brand called In Her Element. In Her Element is a proudly Filipino-made skincare brand that promises maximum glow for minimum effort. This is currently available in 8 retail locations with Beauty Bar, a subsidiary of SSI Understands, as well as in beautymnl.com, and of course our website, inherelement.ph. So, how did I do it? Let me tell you a story. In 2015, I was witness to the death of blogging as we knew it. Other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube were battling for our audience's attention, and traditional bloggers like me were really left behind. It's just really how technology is, right? You go on a platform, you build something, and then something better comes along and you're left out in the cold. My readers were really disappearing. My traffic was also getting lower and lower. Used to enjoy a steady stream of advertisers and sponsors back then, but they also disappeared because, of course, they would take their money where the audience is. I thought that it was over. Imagine flaming out at such a young age. Everything that I'd built up to that point, my blog, my reputation, my community, it was going to be swallowed up by bigger, better, newer players. So it was a problem. But then James, he's gonna be a panelist later, he's my boyfriend. You should go ask him. He did the most romantic thing for me, which is not go down on a knee and give me a ring, to create a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet was one of the key things that helped me really take Project Vanity to the next level, because in it, he made a financial model which allowed me to evaluate Project Vanity, raise money from investors, and expand my operations. Our first raise involved family and friends who saw our vision and understood what we were trying to do. There was this one person, though. He was a good friend of mine. He was a serial entrepreneur, and he was VP of one of the biggest e-commerce platform here in the country. When I pitched my idea, he said, I don't think that's gonna work, you know? He wanted something to do with like videos, celebrities doing tutorials, and basically, it was not just a friend telling me that I couldn't do it. You know, it was an experienced entrepreneur who said it's not possible. But it was still just an opinion, and one that I chose not to listen to. Time will tell who's right, but I'm really glad that I really persevered and tried to see the company through. So I incorporated LLB around my blog in 2016. I hired a general manager and editor, and we hired a team of staff writers to create viral beauty content for Project Vanity. Our goal is the same. We wanted to inspire women to be more confident, to really appreciate their own beauty and enhance it, you know, just at home. We wanted them to really understand their self-worth as well. So Project Vanity really was just not a beauty blog, it was an advocacy. We wanted women to feel great, feel confident, and a swipe of lipstick never hurt doing that, right? So Project Vanity remains to be the only beauty-centric publication in the country. It has an engaged community of readers who are always looking to know more and buy the latest in beauty. When I set up the company, I really thought in my naivete that it was gonna be easy, but it wasn't. This was 2 years ago. One word, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with this, overhead. We lost money in our first year of business. We were spending more than what we were making, and even though our expenses were really reasonable, it was just not enough. We would go to offices pitching and just being rejected because, you know, beauty companies simply had other priorities at that time. We would get a yes every now and then, but the no's were more constant. We were in that hellhole called finding our product market fit. What were we doing wrong? So it turns out other content creators were charging much less, about half for what we were charging for a single advertorial. We already had existing rates since I've been blogging for quite a while, right? But obviously that was no longer feasible because there was more supply than there was demand, so prices were getting slashed across the board. What we did then, when we realized this, was to change basically our advertising package. Instead of trying to sell one story for this price, we would sell 3 for the same price and lock in companies for longer periods of time. This helped us stabilize our cash flow and also increase the renewal rate of our clients since, you know, they were working with us for longer and for less the price. We would instead close 1 to 6 year contracts and establish a great working relationship with these brands. So currently, some of our sponsors are Revlon and PayPal. Okay, so then there was the matter of who was actually going to do the sales. We tried hiring other people to do it and offered generous commissions to boot, but it was a different product to sell. It's still very niche, right? It's beauty. I mean, the beauty industry in the Philippines is definitely growing, but it's still never going to be the same as, say, something like Thailand or even Vietnam. It was, we couldn't find someone to do it. I didn't want to do it because I thought, you know, I'm not good at it. I'm an idea person. I'm the creative person. How could I sell anything, right? So I really thought that it was just not something I was good at. And this is something that I hear a lot from entrepreneurs. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how. Don't even know where to begin. The funny thing is, the existence of our business depends entirely on how well we sell. It's practically a mortal sin to think of ourselves as separate or above selling. And so the first lesson I learned is this: always be closing. Doesn't matter how unique or amazing your product is if you yourself don't know how to sell it. Now, half of being good at sales, I learned, is networking. Yeah, I know it's such a sketchy word, right? It kind of makes you think of your friend, of your acquaintance messaging you out of the blue, asking you for coffee, only to sell you some herbal tea, right? But you know what I mean. But you know what I mean, right? So having a great network means that you have more people to learn from and reach out to in case you have something valuable to offer. The key word here is value. Whenever I prepare for a pitch meeting, thing that I ask myself is, how can I solve a problem that they have? Here's another lesson. When what people say they want to buy and what you think they want to buy is completely different from what they actually buy. So this is a painful lesson I learned when we started our skincare brand In Her Element. So our very first product was a multitasking beauty balm that you can use for your face, your hair, your elbows, your knees, and your feet. Like literally, you can use it head to toe. It smells great, and it was affordable. On top of that, it was absolutely natural and organic, right? So we've done surveys with our readers, and this is what they tell us they wanted. And I've been consulting with different beauty brands, even before setting up my own company. And that information is corroborated by that, my experience there. So I thought I knew what would sell. But when we did finally come out with our first product, it was an absolute flop. What was wrong? It turns out people didn't want anything multi-use. They wanted a specific product for a specific issue. They wanted something that works fast. And surprisingly, they were willing to really pay for it. When we pivoted into more advanced formulations and stronger active ingredients, we were able to really turn around the brand 6 months into it. Surprisingly, our most expensive product is our bestseller because of this. It's a serum moisturizer that's absolutely lightweight and helps to brighten your skin really fast. So a friend of mine recently asked me, how did you know that your skincare brand was going to work out? How did you know it was going to be good? Truth is, I didn't know. I had a domain experience. I've been in beauty for so long. I practically grew up in the industry. But what I learned was that finding success in my own brand is still a learning process, basically. What I learned was that testing as many ideas quickly and as cheaply as possible, and then learning from each mistake, is the real key to finding that one idea or that one concept that works. Failing smart multiple times, for me, is more urgent and actually more useful than trying to perfect the product before it actually comes out. So I meet so many millennials like that. Oh, I want to create something really good. I want to do my research. I want to really get into the details and get it as perfect as possible. But perfect is not possible, really. Perfection is only achieved, ironically, by failure. If you've seen The Founder, the movie about the beginnings of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, played by Michael Keaton, says of the brand, "We are an overnight sensation 30 years in the making." It's a great way to think about any business because whatever the scale is, small, medium, large, whatever success you see a business have, it's really years and years of hard work and failure in between that. So don't get me wrong, though. I'm not glorifying failure. Oops, what happened? It disappeared. Anyway, I'm not glorifying failure here. Failing mindlessly is a waste of your time, effort, money. But failing smart, or applying what you learned from failure into your next step, is often worth the heartache. So, much has been said about how us as entrepreneurs need to be flexible in order to adapt to our reality versus our expectations. Less has been said about how this flexibility doesn't come cheap. We need to be able to let go of what we think we can't do and what we think we know about our market. We need to be able to let go of our pride, this falling in love with the idea that we are worth this when in reality we're worth this. I think that in order to do so, we have to fail repeatedly in order to discover the correct insight or method that will allow our business to move forward. So, I never dreamed of being an entrepreneur. But now that I am, my dream is for others to realize that within themselves is the power to learn, to evolve, and to really build something out of nothing. Thank you.